She looks good wet.
So, I'm always driving around in the hentai car in GTA Online, right? Because it's got cartoon titties on it, and you've got this body pillow in the back, and if you go in and take a close look at it, it's covered in cum stains. But I'm not a fan of the imaginary show itself. Princess Robot Bubblegum is another in a long line of anime spoofs based on a healthy mix of the writers having watched a handful of Robotech episodes 40 years ago, and nothing. I think Princess Bubblegum may be the worst of the bunch. Worse than anything they've done on Simpsons or Futurama or any American animated TV series. Western anime spoofs are uniformly ignorant of anything that's happened in Japanese animation since Sailor Moon first aired. But Princess Bubblegum takes it a step further by taking most of its inspiration from Western anime spoofs. Like the Chinpokomon episode of South Park was clearly a major influence here. I've never seen an anime character with eyes like these, but I've seen it here, and I've seen it on South Park. If you want further evidence that Chinpokomon was their main source of inspiration, consider the baritone-voiced tentacle monster who sings an R&B ballad at one point.
You smell so Asian, but you look so Caucasian. I can't get next to your little girl.
The only explanation for that is that they were unfamiliar with both anime and South Park, so when they heard Isaac Hayes, they assumed that recruiting soul singers to the voice cast must be a trope of Japanese animation. What's even the point of spoofing anime these days? Is there anyone working in the American animation industry that hasn't drawn just as much influence from anime as they have from Western animation? Actually, I think we're a generation out from that. Teen Titans Go was, 10 years ago? And people were barely talking about the show's anime influence back then. Anyway, Princess Robot Bubblegum sucks, but like a lot of the animation in GTA 5 and like a lot of animation on real-life TV, a lot of the art is better than the show deserves. And that's why I put these anime titties on my car. I don't even really watch anime these days, but that doesn't mean I don't like anime. I just don't like the anime that you like. One of my favorites is Terry 100 Channels. This was a half-hour VHS that I think was part of a series of videos intended to show off various Japanese artists. Showing them off to who and for what, I don't know. But this one was intended to show off the work of my favorite manga artist, King Terry, who coined the term Heta Uma, meaning bad but good. This is basically a punk rock DIY ethos applied to comics. Understand that the Japanese manga industry is not and has never been the promised land that you dorks make it out to be. Assistants make less than minimum wage drawing blades of grass and window panes for 16 hours a day. And the odds of climbing the ladder from assistant to lead artist are 1 in a million. Heta Uma means embracing the rough edges of your work. The stuff that makes it look unprofessional. King Terry also coined the terms inverse, Uma Heta, meaning good but bad, to refer to stuff like Princess Robot Bubblegum. Professionally produced, but soulless and ill-conceived. You don't know King Terry from anything, but if you did know King Terry, you'd know him for Penguin Gohan, his collaboration with Shigesato Itoi. You know, the Earthbound guy. Terry 100 Channels isn't really animated in the traditional sense. It was directed by Shinya Tsukamoto, my favorite director, years before he made Tetsuo Iron Man. Tsukamoto employs a series of tricks in the camera work and in the editing to create a sense of movement even though you're just looking at simple comic book panels. My favorite is Karate Man, where shaky cam and dramatic zooms are paired with kung fu sound effects to turn a few comic book pages into an action scene. This isn't far off from how he approaches live action, where violent technique carries a lot of the weight. Terry 100 Channels is set to music by various artists, but mostly Blowfly, my favorite parody artist.
Come on, baby, and suck my dick.
You know, Blowfly released a Swan Song album around the same time as Leonard Cohen and David Bowie. Only his wasn't a stark look into the void. It was the same dirty jokes he'd been telling his whole life. Because last words are for fools who haven't said enough. Here's another anime I like. World of Golden Eggs.
I just heard about they're gonna jack a load of these Pokemon cards.
My baby keep farting in my face. I guess that mean I got my face in the wrong darn place.
Bet you can't hit the subscribe button before this video ends.
My baby keep farting, pretty soon she'll be shitting.